Hello, fellow Inquisitors, Split Persona here, and welcome back to another Inquisitor Martyr video. Today, we are going to be looking at the DLC character, the TECH ADEPT, specifically his ranged weaponry. Now, the TECH ADEPT comes with 4 ranged weapons. He is incapable of using any other weapons. He cannot use pistols. He cannot use, heavy bolters. He cannot use, flamethrowers, sniper rifles, any of that stuff. He must use his 4 weapons. He does come with some melee weapons as well. Which we'll cover that in the next video, I think. But today we're going to go over his ranged weapons. So, wrong tab. So what makes his weapons unique? Well, if you look here, it looks like he basically has just 2 types. However, he has a alpha version of one and a beta version also. So let's take a look at the difference between them, for the most part. Your TECH ADEPT class, his primary focus is not so much on his actual damage he deals himself, but the damage his summoned constructs deal. So if you're playing as a TECH ADEPT, you're going to be summoning lots and lots of constructs. They are going to be what's going to be dealing the damage for the most part. Not so much you. You will be dealing some, but most of the damage is going to be coming from your constructs. The main purpose of your weapons, however, is going to be the debuffs and the abilities that they do. So if we just look at these, for instance, let's just move these 2 over here for now. If we look at these 2 Radium Carbine rifles, okay? He has the alpha one here, and he has a beta. Well, if we look at the alpha, it only has 1 attack ability. And we look at the beta, it has 2 attack abilities. Now, some of you may be wondering why that is. The reason is that these other slots allow you to summon more constructs. So if you're going for a construct-heavy build, your alpha versions allow you to summon an extra construct, whereas your beta versions will not. They will only allow you to summon 2 extra constructs for your weapons, whereas the alpha version will allow you to summon 3. So, as a TECH ADEPT class, like I said, you're going to be using your constructs for damage. Your rifles and your weapons are going to be more for debuffs and, I'll show you here in a bit, status effects, stuff like that. But your primary goal is constructs. If you're running a build where you're using the heavier constructs and you are only able to get so many out, then by all means you can easily get away with a beta rifle because you're not going to need that 3rd slot. But if you're using the lighter constructs where you can summon in hordes of them, you're going to want to stick with an alpha, because the alpha rifle allows you to summon that extra construct. So keep that in mind. Even though these 2 rifles look the same, and these 2 rifles look the same, the alpha and the beta have a very distinct difference between the 2. And overall, the biggest difference between them is your ability to summon an extra set of constructs. Now, they do have some actual differences as far as like their little, abilities in here and stuff like that, and we'll go over that when we actually get into the gameplay. But the biggest difference between them is whether or not you can summon 2 constructs or 3. And if you get it combined with a Technomartyr girdle, which automatically allows you to summon another construct, well then you can take your, your armor here and you can put something else on it that allows you to go and deal another ability. So the rifles, always pay attention to whether it's an alpha or a beta, because that is going to dictate what your other slots will need to be. Whether your girdle needs to be a Technomartyr girdle or something else, your utility slot, and whether your armor needs to allow you to have, the summoner slot, or if you can go with, an ability slot. So always keep that in mind. Like I said, most of your damage is coming from your constructs. They're going to be taking the damage for you as well as dishing it out. Think of yourself like a glass cannon. You're going to deal some damage, but you're also going to take quite a bit. You can get yourself very tanky if you build correctly with constructs, but most of your damage is going to go straight to the constructs and come from the constructs. So that is the difference between an alpha rifle and a beta rifle, and it does come in both the Radium Carbine and the Plasma Caliver. So both of those rifle types will have an alpha and a beta. And they will come in all the, rarity flavors. Ancient Relic, Daemon Forged, Holy Relic, Mastercraft, Relic, all that stuff. So they're all going to come in all those ranges. So if you find a rifle that you like, you can farm for it. So always keep that in mind. So that is an overview of that, but I'm going to find a map. I'm going to jump into it, and we are going to show off the first rifle. Okay, so the first rifle we're going to talk about is the Radium Carbine Alpha. Now, again, alpha rifles only have one attack ability. The attack ability on the Radium Carbine is going to be Short Burst, Rapid Fire, Spread Tight, Single Target, and Poison. A short burst that fires multiple shots. Your attack on this is going to be a 3-round burst shot that is going to apply a poison DOT to your enemy. Like I said, with these weapons, you are going to apply status effects. So these here are very good for applying a status effect. It is a single target attack, but it is a ammo ability as well. So always keep that in mind. Now, I would definitely say spec out into your damage over time tree if you're going to run these. Because with this poison DOT, you are going to definitely want that maxed out as much as possible. It does work very well against most enemies. So there's a group of enemies up here. And let's see if we can't get them. If you see there, 3-round bursts. It's not a very slow firing weapon. It does fire actually very fast. So I'm attacking them, and as you can see, they were dealing with a poison status effect. It was taking their health down. Now, granted, until you get that tree built up, it's not going to be as fast because I have mine maxed. But as you can see here, it is an ammo belt weapon, so I reload, and there you go. But if you look, I have, because of the weapon, 3, ignore this one here, but I have 3 turrets. Now these turrets are because this weapon only has 1 ability. So these extra 3 slots are going all to constructs. So as a summoner, I could go and say do this, this, and this, just with this weapon alone. I wouldn't even need my Techno-Martyr girdle or a, armor piece with that. I could just run this weapon, because it's an alpha variant, and automatically have 3 constructs going. So that is what I'm saying. As a weapon, keep in mind how your build is going, whether you're going to be running a alpha variant or a beta variant. Because your alpha variant is going to be running only 1 weapon slot here. Come on, give me what I want. Oh, now you're not. Now you're not showing it up. Why not? Oh no. Now it's not giving me the, there we go. The data card wasn't showing up for me. But as you are running these weapons, depending on your build, whether you are running large swarms of smaller constructs or just a few heavy constructs, will dictate whether or not you would want to play with a alpha variant rifle or a beta variant rifle. So that was the alpha variant of the Radium Carbine rifle. Like I said, very simple. It only has 1 attack. But the others are all devoted to you being able to summon in a construct. So just the 1 attack there. It's a poison attack, rapid fire, triple shot, very decent. But again, you're not going to be dealing a ton of damage because you're not supposed to. It's your constructs. So that is the alpha. Next, we are going to move on to the beta version. Okay, so the next weapon we're going to talk about is the Radium Carbine Beta. This one is going to have 2 attacks. It's going to have a single shot, long range, armor breaking, knockback, target designator, single target, and poison DOT. Delivers a single shot at the target. Deals plus 20% damage against poisoned enemies. We also have full auto. Long range. Spread, moderate. Single target. Poison DOT. Continuous fire as long as you are holding the button. Now, let's talk about single shot, because this here is definitely probably the one you are going to use the most. And it's going to be difficult for me to actually show off the skill to the fullest because I don't have constructs running right now because I don't want them actually killing the enemies. I want to show off the weapons. The ability target designator. What that does is that will basically force your constructs to attack the target that you hit. So if you're fighting, say, a boss, and that boss is summoning in hordes of, minions and, other enemies for you to fight, and your constructs are going off fighting them, the other enemies, but you want them to focus on the boss, if you use single shot against it, not only are you going to apply a poison effect to your boss, because don't forget, this is still a radium rifle. So it's going to apply the poison DOT to him. But because of the target designator on this, it is going to force your constructs to attack him over all other enemies until he dies or until you attack with single shot again. Keep that in mind. If you use single shot on a different enemy, they will switch targets. So it's not like they are locked into, you know, the boss until he's dead and you can never change that again. No. If you use single shot again on a different enemy, they will change priority. So this rifle actually has a lot of versatility. When I run my construct builds, I will normally run a beta Radium Carbine. The reasoning for that is, 1, the poison DOT, and 2, the target designator ability. Simply because if I run against up a heavy armored enemy, I can mark him, have my constructs attack him, and I can apply poison effects with full auto to all the other ones and slowly whittle away their health while I'm going and focusing on them while my constructs are dealing out and taking most of the hits from the boss. That is how I would recommend using these rifles. Use them to soften up stuff. If you're running a beta rifle, use the single shot here and the target designator to highlight the enemy you want your constructs to focus on first. Then use your full auto to eliminate the softer targets yourself while your constructs are focusing on the target you wanted them to kill. So that's enough of explaining what the actual features are of this. So let me go, and we are going to find some enemies here. Like I said, it's going to be hard to show off that target designator, which is why I wanted to explain it. So I'm going to show off single shot. As you can see, it deals a ton of damage, but it does have a little bit of a cooldown. It does have a knockback effect to it, and it does have armor breaking. This is full auto. Full auto, very fast, and extremely good at wiping out large groups of enemies. That's why I said, if you're running this rifle, your first target is going to want to get hit, your heaviest one, with single shot. You're going to want to highlight your biggest target with single shot. Whether it be a boss or an alpha or anything like that, you are going to want to hit it with single shot. That will mark it, your constructs will attack it, it will apply the poison DOT to it, and then you let them go and deal with that. Then you switch over to full auto, and you take out your smaller enemies in the area. You're going to be applying poison to them, you're going to be, you know, dealing actual physical damage to them as well, because this is still a rifle. So that is how this is going to work. You're going to want to use this. Again, you are not the primary means of destruction here. Your constructs are. These rifles are only to go and supplement your abilities. You're not using these for damage. You are using these for their abilities. Keep that in mind. Like I said at the beginning, you're not using them to kill a boss. You're using them to weaken the boss. You're using them to use your constructs to kill the boss. So that is the Radium Carbine, both alpha and beta. Next, we're going to go on to the Plasma Caliver. Okay, so the next weapon we're going to talk about is the Plasma Caliver Alpha. Again, it's an alpha version, so it's only going to have 1 attack, but it's going to have 3 utility slots for constructs. Its attack, plasma, arc, shot. Long range. But it is going to be a heat-based weapon. You're not dealing physical damage with these. You're dealing heat-based. Slow. Strong versus armored. And single target. Delivers a single shot at the target and deals heat damage to up to 3 additional targets nearby. The way this rifle works is it will slow down a target if it has its suppression at the yellow bar. So if you're damaging an enemy and their suppression gets low, it will start to slow them down. Okay. So if you have it where you have a plasma rifle and you have it set up where, you know, your enchantments on it are set up to, you know, on so many hits it drops their suppression enough. This is a very, very good weapon to do that with. Because that slow effect will drop it by, I believe, 40% it says there for 3 seconds. So the slow is nice. But the biggest thing with this is your weapon for anti-armor. This is what you're going to be using for anti-armor, is your plasma calivers. These are heat-based. So you're not going to just want to go into damage over time. If you use these, you're going to want to go over here to heat. You're going to want to bump this up. You're going to want to try to get as much heat-based skill points as possible so that you can max out its potential. The other ability that it has, it says single target. However, it has a very unique perk. When it hits an enemy, it will arc up to 3 enemies. Now, if you set up your enchantments right, where if an enemy takes heat damage, that they will take burn damage and all that other stuff, you can apply massive amounts of burning to groups of enemies. This weapon is actually very good depending on how your enchantments are set up. So I would definitely recommend running this sometimes. So let's go find a group of enemies and see what kind of trouble we can get into. Right here's a group of enemies. So we're going to hit him. And as you can see, it arced all over them. Dealing damage to him. As you can see, I'm hitting him and it killed him. They're coming in. Now, they do have to be relatively close. But as you can see, it's arcing. It's arcing. And as you can see, they're slowed. They are very slow. Because their suppression is down. Now, with it being a heat-based weapon, you are going to want to watch because you have an overheat bar. But it doesn't go firing fast enough for it to ever really become an issue unless you really spec out your enchantments. And I need to watch because my health is getting awfully low here. Oh, I don't have an inoculator. Oh, that's a bad thing. Okay, well, eat that. There, take that. Okay, so that is how this works. Think of it like an arcing shot or a splinter shot that once it hits a target, it will just disperse and do massive crowd control. So the alpha variant of this one is extremely good. I prefer the alpha variant of the plasma caliver to the alpha variant of the Radium Carbine. Simply because the Radium Carbine alpha, it's okay, but I prefer the beta because of the target designator. But the plasma caliver alpha has the crowd dispersal ability to it, which is very handy if you're going up against a group of low health enemies. You can wipe out that group very quickly with that ability. Or if you're going up against a group of armored targets, well, it's strong versus armor because it's a heat-based weapon. So if that's arcing between all those armored targets, you're hitting every last one of them and whittling down their armor. So this weapon is extremely powerful. It is a very solid weapon. And again, you get your 3 slots for your constructs. So keep that in mind. This one is going to still be an alpha, so you're going to have your 3 constructs and only the 1 attack, but it is a very solid attack. It's a heat-based weapon, so keep in mind when you're doing this, you're going to want your enchantments to be for heat. Ignore these. I crafted these. I don't have any good enchantments on them. This is just to showcase the weapons. But if you go and do good enchantments on this, you can have an awesome build on this. So that is the Plasma Caliver Alpha. Next is going to be the Plasma Caliver Beta. Okay, so the last weapon we're going to talk about is the Plasma Caliver Beta. Since it's a beta, it has 2 attack options and only 2 construct slots. So, your first attack is short burst, long range, area effect AoE, rapid fire, armor breaking, slow, spread tight. A short burst that fires multiple shots. Now, this does deal a little bit of area effect. So, if you're looking to deal damage in, around your target, if they're tightly clustered, this will deal that a little bit. However, your main purpose for this attack is the armor breaking. However, you're not going to be using that attack the most. Again, you're using these weapons more for their abilities, which is where Plasma Beam comes in. Long range, channeled, barrage, slow, and target designator. Damage the target with a continuous channeled beam attack. As long as the beam is active, constructs attacking the beam's target will deal an additional 50% damage. This weapon is extremely effective. This is what you will be using for highlighting your bosses. Once you get a good version of one of these, do not let it go. Your Plasma Caliver Beta, that additional 50% damage bonus that constructs get for attacking a highlighted target is extremely good. However, you need to continually fire on your target. Unlike something else where you can just go and just highlight the target, like you can still do that with this. You can still highlight the target and they'll still attack the target. But if you want it to take that additional 50% damage, you actually need to go and keep firing the plasma beam at it in order for it to debuff it enough for your constructs to deal extra damage. So this is very much if you're going against a boss with, no extra, minions or anything else you have to worry about, this can deal a ton of damage in combination with your constructs. Just make sure that you do not let go of the attack button. You have to keep that active the whole time. in order to get that 50% damage bonus. If you just hit him and walk away, they'll still attack him as a priority target until you switch a target, because it's still a target designator. But if you want that bonus damage, you still have to attack. So let's show these off. There's a group up here. Let's see if we can't lure one of them down. So that right there is the short burst. And I'm trying to see if... Yep, as you can see there, I'm hitting that one, and the AoE effect is spreading over to the other ones. Now, he's not getting hit, as you can see. So it is the AoE effect is very, very close range. They have to be like really much right on top of each other in order for that. You can go into, I believe it is the AoE skill tree, and increase that. Hang on. Not yet. I'm not ready. Get out of here. Okay, you know what? Screw you guys. Take out. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. As I was saying, I don't know if... Okay, he does not have the AoE attack upgrade. So, he does not have the ability to increase that there. Simply because that skill tree is not there for him. But Plasma Beam is the other attack you have. So let's go up here. It does not deal a ton of damage. As you can see, like right here, I'm hitting them. It does not deal a ton of damage. Most of your damage, like I said, is going to come from your constructs. But it does overheat his bar very, very quickly. So let me just do this. Get rid of some nasties real quick. Highlight him. There we go. And right. But yeah, the plasma beam does not deal a ton of damage. It doesn't. It will deal damage, but its main purpose is target designator and that 50% damage bonus that you get with your constructs. That is its main purpose. If you're going to be running this weapon, you'll more than likely be attacking with short burst and then using this to highlight high priority targets. But that there is the Plasma Caliver, which that is the very last weapon for the Tech Adept. Normally, when I run a Tech Adept, I normally run with either a Radium Carbine Beta, because it will deal the poison DOT on them, and I'd rather have the DOT effect. And I will run with in my secondary slot, a Caliver Alpha, because that has the splitting effect where you can hit up to 3 additional targets, and it gives me an extra construct slot. So I can switch back and forth between these two and gain an extra construct if I need to. But this right here has target designator on single shot. This one here is full auto. I can take out groups of enemies after I highlight the target I want to hit. If I have a group of, like, say, large, small, little minions that die in, pretty much one shot, I'll switch over to a Plasma Caliver Alpha, and I'll use this one where it damages up to 3 nearby targets, because it'll just hit the first one, split off, hit 3 additional targets, and just wipe out that whole swarm very quickly. So, again, that's just how I run a normal one. And as you can see, they do come in, like I said before, all the flavors. So that is the Tech Adept's weaponry. But that is going to cover it for this episode. Hopefully you guys liked the episode. If you want to see more, hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a good day!